Hey everyone, it's Kellen from RacerX again, back again with another race examination video, this time from WWE Ranch, where we're going to start off by talking about this moment you may have missed in the second 250 moto. As you see some mechanics pushing a bike behind the starting gate there, and John Starling running around after them as well. So as we fast forward to when the gate actually drops, you'll notice that it was Star Racing Yamaha's Jarrett Frye who ended up having to get his bike started off the outside of the gate, and he was able to get it fired just as the gate fell. But for those of you that maybe had Frye in fantasy and wondered why he got such a bad start in the second moto, there you have it. He is well down the order as he comes through the first corner, but did a good job to salvage a good score in that second moto at the end of it all. Moving on to this contact between Marvin Musquin and Adam Cianciarulo, though, as it was one of the biggest talking points from the WWE Ranch National, and I kind of wanted to break this down and revisit the crash between Justin Barcia and Joey Savatgy a week ago. So here they are side by side, just for a reference point to see what we're looking at here, and you can see outside contact from both parties results in the inside rider going down. But in this instance, Musquin coming from a little further back and kind of clips Cianciarulo's elbow there as they enter the corner. Really more or less a racing incident when you talk to most people about this, though, is it's two guys going for the same line. Cianciarulo had really messed up the roller section, and Musquin thought he had an opportunity to swoop in from the outside. Just missed the mark there, but pretty similar to what we saw with Barcia trying to swoop it around the outside of Savatgy. Savatgy kind of throwing it in there, missed his break, he said. Contact and both riders going down on the inside, which doesn't happen all that often. It's quite rare that the outside rider gets away scot-free in these instances. I want to remind everybody that this video is presented by OFFROAD. Nowhere to go with the #1 off-road GPS app. Access 400,000 plus miles of trails and roads, open dates, and public lands. Download the onX Off-Road app today. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about was Justin Barcia's fall early in this second moto when he crashed right there as he was chasing Adam Cianciarulo early in the race. And a lot of people were frustrated with Barcia's route back to the mechanics area and thought that why wasn't he penalized for it. Now, as he goes around the outside of the track here, he does start accelerating pretty heavily, which is one thing you're not really supposed to be accelerating off track like he was. But the route to the mechanics area wasn't all that bad. As you see Barcia's crash upper left-hand corner of your screen here, and he goes around the outside of the track all the way to the mechanics area, which is now before the chicane. Now, the old mechanics area was actually about 3 or 4 corners after that, so had he gone to the old mechanics area, he would have actually missed a finish line jump, but he did not. He went to the new mechanics area, rejoined where that chicane is, and to me, this isn't really much of a track cut or anything along those lines. If you want to get mad about him for accelerating off the track, get that, but it really wasn't much of a track cut, so I don't think that there's much to be talked about there. Back to Marvin Musquin, who had a hellacious get-off in practice early in the day and was able to recover, obviously, to race the motos, but it looked very brutal when he went down initially at speed. So fast, so crazy. But how about Marv able to pick himself up pretty quick here? He obviously took a little bit of time. He got the wind knocked out of him, no question about that. And a lot of people were asking, how was he maybe not concussed? Because he hit the ground so hard and it looked like his head maybe took the brunt of it. But I wanted to kind of highlight what maybe happened here that prevented a concussion for Musquin and why he ended up being okay for the motos, as they're going to watch the replay here and they're going to slow it down. So this angle, you don't get the best view of it. You do get to see him swap and get a little sideways, and he kind of gets slapped to the ground. But you notice it looks like his head obviously took a big brunt of that. As they show the rear-facing view, though, one thing I want you to key on with this and why it maybe wasn't a concussion, obviously the helmet, very good safety here by the Aero helmet, but his head actually kind of very quickly kind of jolts to the backside really quick, and I think that rolling action is what prevented a concussion, because it wasn't like a dead stop in the ground for his head. It was more of like a rolling action, and he kind of rolled and then hit his butt on the ground as well. So kind of fortunate there for Musquin to not end up a little bit more hurt in that scenario. And speaking of fortune, RJ Hampshire absolutely escaped a big injury here in the first 250 moto late while he was running in third, and he crashed heavily in front of Jeremy Martin, and this would be the end of his moto. As you see, he comes over and picks the bike up here. The bike is absolutely destroyed. The subframe is bent, the seat's all kicked up, the side plates on the backside are all bent over. The pipe even has some dings in it. And then as he gets rolling, you also notice that the front of the bike is pretty jacked up as well. The bars are sideways. Looks like the triple clamps may have gotten shifted. And then as he pulls around to the side, no front number plate on the bike anymore. The front fender's bent down, and the front tire is all tacoed up as well because it's starting to wobble as he rolls away. And here's what happened. Hampshire actually must have got a kicker or something on this jump because he had to step through the front door of the bike. And I guess fortunate maybe that there's some soft softer soil down there in WW Ranch because he was able to land on some softer cushioning down the backside there, but that is why the bike absolutely got destroyed. Hampshire very lucky to get up and get away from this one in the end, and he'll be back racing this weekend in Thunder Valley as we head into round 8 of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross.